You're here with us at Kardec Radio. Welcome to 21 days of beautiful opportunity of spiritual awakening. It's an opportunity for all of us to be together, reminding ourselves of the reasons why we're here. We need to recall, and we need friends from the beyond to share this with us, because the heaviness of the physical body block our way to consciousness. Not that block completely, but create obstacles. So we need to make a lot of effort. And you're invited tonight to the gym of the soul. Here we are at the spiritual community in our 11th hour, right? Thank you, Karen Mark, for being with us at Kardec Radio, checking on the system. We have our community entering here, and we are saying hi to all of you. Welcome to day 2, 21 days of spiritual awakening. It's an opportunity for us to not only learn, but also to serve. The minute you and I are together, we are together, we're forming, as André Luiz says, this current of positive vibrations, positive thoughts. And as we are tuning in a beautiful current of positive thinking, we are creating a vibration that is counterbalancing evil on the earth. So it's worthwhile, the investment, and sleeping less and giving greater quality to our lives and being together here. It is worthwhile. So we're going to share with you that today, as we are entering chapter 1 of the book, I Am Back, by Brother Jacob, through the mediumship of Chico Xavier. In Portuguese, the book is titled Voltei. In English, potentially, I Am Back. And here we are. I am back, I came back, I returned, whatever it is, he's back. Fred Figner, or Frederico Figner, a Jewish Czech man who became Brazilian. He moved to the US and then to Brazil. And beside his great influence in the Brazilian society, he became a spiritist and very devoted spiritist. He also participated as one of the directors of the Brazilian Spiritist Federation, a true benefactor, one that worked very closely in spiritist centers, mediumistic meetings. He was a spirit counselor. We call it doutrinador in Portuguese. In English, we have chosen spirit counselor, a person who talks to the spirits through the mediums. Okay? And here we have all of you, friends who have joined us and are here in this beautiful community. We're talking to you as we give time for people to get in. Okay? So Andrea Torres, beautiful Andrea, yesterday she mentioned to us about meeting Beethoven. Later she explained it to me. I was truly touched. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Andrea. Ceissa, welcome. Adilson, thank you for being with us. My beautiful friend Shane, thanks to Shane, we also have these translations. Carlos, Shane, and Evelyn, they are working, they are teaming up to produce the first version of the translation, and then we're working with a team to revise the book. But it's coming about, friends. What a joy. Thanks to you, because this 11-hour community is giving them fuel to work so we can be here. So this work is a teamwork effort, right? Leonor, beautiful Leonor, how are you? And Roni, we just had the gospel at home with friends, and we were mentioning about that day when we were in Davis in 2007 when I met you. And here you are, beautiful mother, diligent, spiritist, and here with us. Thank you, Ronnie. And Sunshine, also doing beautiful works for Kardec Radio, soon to be released, right? And Leia Severo. Thanks to Leia, we also have beautiful progress at Kardec Radio. Thank you, Leia, for you, for your help. Danny as well. Our beautiful Rihanna, who is doing beautiful translations to the African language and is here with us from South Africa. Thank you, Rihanna, Nico, and the group there. The beautiful Valeria, a dear friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here with us and for helping us as well. And if you're there and I haven't seen your name, forgive me. But, you know, sometimes there is a limitation here. Who knows? But we're here and we are ready for another study. Right, Leah? Right, Danny? Right, Valeria, everyone. Okay? So let me just share here for those who are elsewhere and they also need their fair share. Right? Here we are. Ping! Go. All right. Here on the West Coast, Sunshine, our meetings do not translate into less sleep, but no more social life. That's funny. Jailton is here. Thank you, Sunshine. Are you ready, friend? I tell you, this book is fantastic, but it's not simple. The spirits don't come here to tell us about, oh, when they lived happily ever after. I've never heard of such a book, and it doesn't make sense because we're on the earth. The happily ever after happens in other planets. Right? Paula, welcome. Welcome, welcome. So, Brother Jacob, do you remember him? Fred Figner. He discarnated. And then he wanted to tell us. He had a commitment, he says. And this is how he says, Chapter 1, The Return. For many weeks, and I'm reading from him, okay? I had a permission to write to you relating the news from the old friend already in the other world. And actually, this is not news, by the way, for me or for you. When I was discarnating, I started the project that would send you mail as soon as death snatched me. So he had the plan. As soon as he discarnated, he planned on coming back and telling the friends. But you know what is interesting for us here? Okay, what is interesting is that at Kardec's time, the same happened. Many of Kardec's friends, they planned the same thing too. They told one another, if you discarnate before me, let's make sure that we come back. Remember, Fred Figner, I'm looking here, he discarnated in 1947. A year later, he was able to psychograph through Chico, to write through Chico Xavier, psychography, right? So he says, Spiritism for me was not just a simple religious belief. It became the constant environment in which my soul breathed. It constituted an integral element of my own being. Hence the enthusiasm for services of spirit counseling and the certainty with which I was expecting the contentment of making myself felt by brothers and sisters of the same ideal after discarnation. Now, pause for a second. This man was completely devoted to the Spiritist teachings, to helping the center. It was his life. He was constantly working on it. He was not a medium. He was a spirit counselor. You know, in mediumistic meetings, the spirits come communicate through the medium, and there is a spirit counselor to talk to the spirits who are in need of counseling, right? It's the rescue work. But he says, what I planned on didn't happen. In the sense of, I didn't simply came back and through a medium I wrote my story. And we're talking about Chico Xavier. Right? First thing he says, he had difficulty in the mediumistic communication. Now, listen to what he's going to say, because it's striking. You're going to know more about you, about others, the spirits, and the mediums as well. Hello, Teresa Castro. Hello, McCarthy Claire, we missed you. Ivana, missed you too. Welcome back. Now, he says, the service is not as easy as it seems at first glance. We can certainly visit friends and influence them. However, for this, we have copied the effort of professionals of telepathy. We emit thoughts, expending mental power in high doses, and if the person is sensitive, then it is possible to transmit them the ideas with relative ease. Sometimes, because of the receptor's deficiency, okay, coupled with multiple waves surrounding him, it prevents the exchange. So this is very important for us to observe. If you think it's easy to discarnate and come back and talk through a medium, there are rules of engagement. Kardec in the Medium's book talks about the law of affinity. And what is it? Perispiritual. It's about chemistry. To communicate, we need to attune chemically. It's like, for example, you want to talk to somebody, but you need a medium, somebody in between to talk to that person. But you don't know the person doesn't know you. They don't speak the same language. And how are you going to communicate? It's no different from when you're discarnate. And it's even harder. Hello, Kátia, Fátima. Hello, Luiz Cláudio. So here we have it. If the instrument of exchange, the medium, remains absorbed in the concerns of the daily life, it is difficult to establish the preponderance of our desires. So, now one rule of thumb. If you want to work in a mediumistic setting, you need to practice to be consciously calm down from the worries of daily life. If you're a person who's like, always like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. Oh, I have to do this. And you think in a mediumistic meeting, we're going to sit down and easily we're going to calm down. It's not going to happen. Many people ask, but Vanessa, why don't we have more mediumistic meetings nowadays? Because people don't know how to calm down. That's why we're going to give you a tip. You want to be good at mediumistic meetings? Learn to meditate first. Learn to meditate first. Yes. If you know how to meditate, you'll be one step from actually learning how to be in a mediumistic meeting. But we're not talking about sleeping. We're talking about true meditation. So, practice meditation as a way to facilitate the exchange. We're going to bring to Kardec Radio a man whom I come to know this past weekend in North Carolina. He helped the Spiritist event that happened there, which was beautiful. Steve Dean, he is a good meditator, and he is a Spiritist now, studying Spiritism, and he's very skillful. He teaches meditation. He's going to be at Kardec Radio very soon, teaching us about meditation. And if everything goes right, he's also going to be once a week at Kardec Radio, teaching those who want to learn to meditate. Jesus used to meditate, and this is a non-religious practice. Meditation is a work of the mind. If I don't know how to sit still and be mindful, I won't be a good medium. I won't be a good counselor. I won't be a good supporting medium in a mediumistic meeting. Okay? So, step forward, learn meditation. Okay? Hello, Patricia. Hello, Constance. And Carlos, João Carlos. Welcome, friends. Fátima, Kátia. Welcome, welcome, friends. What else does he say? He tells us more. The human mind attracts waves of force, okay, which vary according to the emissions that characterize the activity. In the mediumistic mind, this phenomenon is more intense. By the sensitivity that marks the faculties of the medium projects energies in search of our field of action, the discarnates, and receives them from our sphere with indescribable intensity. So if you know you're a medium, pay attention. You know, like a radio system, the old radio systems that you had like to tune in, the button, those very sensitive ones that you barely touch and they change the dial. Mediums are like this, different from people who are not ostensible mediums. You can and they hardly go to another station. Mediums, like you barely touch, they move, they attune with other frequencies. Law of the mental field. You and I, we emit, we're going to attract what we're emitting. Is it hope? You're going to attune with hope. Are you constantly thinking about problems? What is a good way, Vanessa? It's not my recipe, it's of the spirits. What is a good way for us to get our minds off of the problems? Read good books, listen to music, good talks, do meditations, visualizations. At Kardec Radio, we have a tab, Virtual Passes. You click there. Beautiful in Portuguese, Spanish, English, in voices of Greg Stewart and Isabella Vieira. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. An opportunity for us to really, really practice this inner and detach from the problems. There are people who are so attached to problems, they cannot live without problems. And they even sing to their problems. I can't live without you. I'm joking with you. But that's how exactly it happens. Some people are so attached to problems that when they don't have problems, they find problems. We don't want to be like this, right? How do we want to be? Focused on the good, seeking the good, feeling the good, and visualizing the good. Molding the good with all the resources we have at hand. Being positive always. Look at the master. He had a melancholic look, but not because he was sad deep inside, because he wanted to remind us that melancholic look of Jesus was a lesson for us. He was not expressing his inner sadness in the sense of like, I'm so sad. No. He was saying to us, I love you, but I would rather see you in a better condition for your own sake. So that melancholic look is a lesson for us, saying he loves us, but he wants us to be better for our own sake. So, but look at Jesus. Was he ever discouraged? No. Was he ever defeated? No. Was he ever, desperate? No. Why? Because he always kept his mind mindful of our true spiritual reality. Right? We're children of God. Now, Brother Jacob. Then he says that in this exchange with the mediums, it's almost impossible to impose our complete individuality on the medium. Okay? Now I'm going to read you something that is quite striking. He says, if the medium is too laid back in regards to keeping the balance of his triple composition, mind, the spiritual body, the physical body, and if the members of the group that he participates are too laid back, distracted, not realizing about the gravity of their participation, then it becomes impracticable, he says, to use the resources offered to us for the good. Got the message? If you're a medium, take good care of you. Not good care in the sense of like, oh, I am going to do plastic surgery. Good care is the inner. And your group needs to be up and running. Because if anybody there is not in sync, there are true obstacles for the spirits. You want to read another book about this? Okay, here goes a reference. In the Realm of Mediumship, by André Luiz. Nos Domínios da Mediunidade, in Portuguese. Okay? Go read it, because there we're going to see in a table 7 mediums, only one was able to be used as instrument of the good spirits. Only one. Why? And then we'll know why. Read the book. Read the book. Let's read the book and the books. And he says, I have now been receiving precious lessons as to this, because I have committed myself to come and talk to my friends. And he says, I used to consider mediumship natural occurrences. However, I came to recognize on the realm that I am today that the inattention with which we distinguish, the inattention that we give to such gifts. So if you have a spiritist director in your center who is a good disciplinarian, God bless you. As Jesus says in the book, Jesus in the Home, those who are under the educational efforts of good disciplinarians, they progress faster. We cannot make our spiritist centers a club, friend. These are words by who? Dr. Bezerra de Menezes. In the preface of the book, which book? It's not in English. As Dimensões Espirituais do Centro Espírita, by Sueli Caldas Schubert, The Spiritual Dimensions of the Spiritist Center. No. We need to be very serious, very committed. The Spiritist side of Virginia is turning 10 years this month, and Mentor Joseph came to me the other day and said, Vanessa, a Spiritist center is of great seriousness. People have the right to participate, but they have the obligation, they have duties to fulfill. It's not a club where people get in and out and do whatever they like. No. Because if they do it, they are going to compromise the safety and the works of everyone else. So there is kindness, there is tolerance, there is support, but there is a duty to be fulfilled. Hello, Felipe. Hello, Sol. Right? Yes. Look forward to that, Teresa, because it's gonna happen, the meditation. Okay? Now, he says, I'm going to skip a few paragraphs to you. And he talks about needed reflections. He says to all of us that in his case, he was a man who had a lot of money, who had a lot of employees, and who was obeyed constantly. And he said, I spent a life like this being used to being obeyed, but this creates enormous losses for whomever is constantly obeyed, because then we enter a vicious circle of noxious prejudices that crystallize in our mental organization. He says, and he's saying this because when he tried to bring these teachings through Chico Xavier, he said, I almost consider myself offended when the superior spirits told me that I couldn't actually rise through Chico Xavier right away. That I actually had to go through an acclimation with the medium Chico Xavier. It's something new for us. And believe it or not, Frederico Figner, brother Jacob, he met Chico Xavier before he discarnated. But when he had to come through Chico to send a message, it wasn't like going to the post office and saying, mail this letter for me. So he tells us, I made visits to the doctrinal nucleus that he participated in Rio, he said, and he observed something quite unique. Now for you and I, for all of us here, Spiritist centers were different from the angle of those who are discarnated. He says, when he entered the Spiritist center that he used to be in, there were a few people, but spiritually they were true hives of discarnate entities. And I confess to you, as a medium, when I go to Spiritist centers, sometimes people talk to me and I confess, I am observing also the discarnates. And I see how the incarnates are unaware of the much that is happening And if they could just sit down or help, because they are minority. No matter how many incarnate friends are in the center, there are at least 2/3 more of discarnates connected to that center. You know, a practice we have, and we have been teaching Virginia, and we hope to share this with everyone. When we open the door of the Spiritist Center, before we do so, something that Mentor Joseph taught me a while ago. Excuse me, Jesus, may I come in? We're not entering a place that is only dedicated to the rescue of the incarnates, but two worlds. We need to be reverent. We need to be very diligent. And we need to walk with the ultimate respect. For those who are working hard in the incarnate and the discarnate realm, for that center to exist on the earth. Because it's not easy. It's not simple. And he says here, the volume of obligations increased in my eyes. I understood them how much abnegation we need in order to persevere in the good until the end of the struggle, according to the teachings of Jesus. It's not easy, but it's needed. He said, my first impression was kind of negative, he says. He was very pessimistic, because he says, I have to come to admit for a moment the incapacity of human collaboration, given the immensity of the service. And that's what we keep telling our groups. There is so much work. Hello? Can you hear me? That's probably how they feel on the other side. Can you hear us? We need you. And we're like, hi, how are you? Oh, I love your dress. Oh, I love your shoes. Oh, you know, I just traveled. Oh, I'm going to travel. Oh, there's a barbecue. Oh, there's... Hold on. What is the reason why you go to a Spiritist Center? We need to ask this question. Because if you go there because you need friends, remember, it's not a club. You can make friends, but it's not a club. Oh, I go there because I feel that I need help. Okay, valid. But remember, you receive help, and one day you'll be asked to give help. Not probably by the people who are there, but by the good spirits. Because you're also a co-creator of God. Oh, I go there because I have a business and I need to network to build my business. That, I'll tell you, it's criminal. We cannot use the resources of our Spiritist connection to build connections for our business. We do not do that. We do not advertise. If people find out and they know, fine. But we cannot be there distributing business cards, selling products, etc. It's a no, 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 no. I go there because I'm hoping to find a husband or a wife, a date. Okay? I know, Kardec Radio's listeners, I'm just saying no. Don't. You know why? Read question and answer 893. 893 of the Spirit's Book by Kardec. What is the most meritorious virtue of all? He says, all of them. Resisting to evil. But in reality, they say, it is to be selfless. So if you want to gain connection with the superior spirits, go to the center because other people may need help. Spiritual help. And you want to partake in the teamwork effort. Then you'll be helped. Then you'll be in connection with the loving spirits, and from there on, only beautiful things can happen. However, he says, the word of experienced companions reared me in a good mood. Tiny seeds produce tons of grain that supply the world. So too, the germs of goodwill improvise heroic activities to human edification. And here we are, our tiny seeds in this 11th hour, really producing tons of grain that's supplying our inner world. So, seeds are powerful, but blossoming the potential and bringing fruits is even better. He says, this conclusion reassured me that I had the joy of being noticed in several spiritist centers, availing myself of the cooperation of some mediums who interpreted my personality. These opportunities, however, did not offer me resources to the most complete news. So he visited several centers. People perceived him, but the communication wasn't complete. Does that happen? Oh, it happens between you and I. Yes. Some people can be speaking right here in front of us, and we're like, what did they say again? And we don't register. Same for mediums. And he says, I began to fight my glaring individualism, and I examined the respect for others' interests, and I didn't feel sufficiently encouraged to interfere in the general good. Good job. Thank you, Brother Jacob, for sharing this. In the last parts of this chapter, he's going to share with us when he visited Chico Xavier. You want to see the picture again? Look at this. I'm going to move the camera, okay? Because, forgive me, I don't have a better way of showing it to you. But look at this, friends. Okay? Look at this. Chico Xavier psychographing and Brother Jacob approaching with the spirit instructor and Emmanuel nearby and the mediumistic meeting members, and he sees that actually this is not gonna happen just like that. Why? You wanna know? He says, I visited Chico Xavier's group in Peter Leopoldo with a friend 11 years before he discarnated. But this time when he came back, he said the humble house was filled with the discarnate people. And in the mediumistic meeting, there were only 20 people. Picture this, friend, 20 people, and he said that the discarnate realm was like packed. Okay? As if the walls were not existence, giving place to a vast number of needy souls that the mentor of the house, with the collaboration of many workers, sought to help with the evangelical word. Here's a parenthesis for you and I, wherever you are in the world. Is your group small? In the spiritual realm, it's not small. In the spiritual realm, it's huge. But remember, if you're speaking the language of the country where you're living in, You have a great number of discarnates being there. If you speak another language that majority cannot understand, then you're going to have a smaller crowd in the spiritual realm as well. You may have more incarnates, but less disincarnates. And a lot of work being given to the good spirits, bringing translators, like you see in the book No Solar, they report about translators in the spiritual colony, and we're giving more work to the spiritual friends in the spiritual realm. He says, I walked in, flanked by 3 brothers receiving warm embraces. He observed how the coordinator of the meeting was very diligent, and he says he was there and he wanted to communicate through Chico Xavier. But, and I'm skipping a few paragraphs here, but the mentor said to him, my good friend, I'm sorry. It's not only fair that you wait a little longer. We do not have here a simple service of registration. It's advisable to acclimate yourself with the medium. The spiritual tuning requires more time-consuming care. How many people come to us and say, I want spiritual information from the good spirits. I want to know how my family is doing. Sometimes we have no permission. As Chico said, the phone rings from there to here. Sometimes the connection doesn't exist. It's hard. What can we say? And then, you know what happened? How do you think Brother Jacob felt? He felt happy? No. He says, I, imperfect and selfish, recalled of, remembered of Andre Luis. He was not a spiritist, and yet the news of the world were brought in by him. And before he even said anything, the spirit instructor Andrade told him, do not judge Andre Luis. He suffered much in the purifying spheres, and he actually acclimated himself to Chico Xavier for 2 straight years, 700 days. In addition, the effort is impersonal, and it reflects the indirect cooperation of many benefactors that breathe in higher spheres. He went on explaining the difficulties of the mediumistic exchange, pointing out the obstacles of the connection, and relating the scientific enlightenment that I could not keep in my memory. Then he promised that he would keep me in a timely manner. Okay, so he didn't say, oh no, you are not going to be receiving this enlightenment, but he said, I am sorry, but we cannot have you doing this now because we need to work on it. He says, I was disappointed, but in a way, I was satisfied. Some friends got closer, but they couldn't perceive me. And then I began to understand the natural obstacles in the exchange, the mediumistic exchange, and the renunciation that is needed in the Christian work that Spiritism with Jesus is performing for the world. What do you think, friends? How do you feel about this very, and I'm just opening here the actual book in Portuguese to quote something here for you. Forgive me for interrupting a minute. I would just want to share that he was a year later able to share all of it with us. For now, You and I are learning with him that it's not piece of cake. We need a good team. We need true renunciation. And friends, good mediums. Good mediums. And what is a good medium, may be asking. Kardec asked, what is a good medium? Is the one that is easy in the hands of the good spirits. The good medium cannot live a crazy life, materially speaking, expecting that the minute he closes his eyes, he's gonna be channeling. No. We really need to practice this inner sanctuary that we talked about yesterday. And Jailton is summarizing here. Humility, humility, humility. It was hard for Brother Jacob because in the world he was a man that was easily obeyed. When he got to the spiritual realm, he found out that it's not quite like that. Right? So we need to ask ourselves, what do I want to do with this information? Where are you in your mediumship? Did you know that we're all mediums? Yes, we are. Because we all perceive at a certain level, as Kardec says, the influence of spirits. What are you doing with your mediumship? Are you saying words that are hurting people or blessing people? Are you cooperating wherever you are, being a good instrument of the guardian angels of everybody? Or are you only speaking, being the spokesperson of those who want the obsessors? I'm asking you not to judge you, but asking myself, how often I am the spokesperson of the good spirits, bringing hope and consolation to people, bringing peace and calmness. How often I am the spokesperson of the obsessors, who is constantly spreading sadness, desperation, etc. Where are you in that regard? Can you verify? Because if you want to develop and educate your mediumship, that's how we begin. By observing what we're doing with our feelings and with our resources. When you see things, how do you perceive the world? You see the good? Or you only see the bad? Thinking about it, right? Chaudhry, thank you for being with us. Kathy, thank you. Ola from Georgia. Welcome, Nico. Thank you. So, humility, number one. Second, today it's about being a good medium. A good instrument of God, wherever you are, not only in a center, not only in spiritist centers, in spiritist communities, everywhere you go. It's about doing the good and practicing this beautiful instrument that you are. You are a child of God. You don't need to make an effort to be a child of God, but you need to make an effort to multiply the seeds of your divinity in the world. Yes, you need to make an effort. Okay? Rihanna is saying we're translating the Spirit's book in Afrikaans. Oh, Mamma Mia, God bless you. It's a way of studying and helping others understand it better. We're learning words through Spirit that we never knew of. So much respect for those who translate, I know. It is hard. We've been doing this for more than 25 years and it is hard, right, Sunshine? Rihanna, we're praying for you and for the group. Go on. Thank you, Sunshine. We're grateful for you here. And, you know, this book is coming about in English. When we come back tomorrow, We're going to be studying chapter 2. And you're going to love it. You know why? Because you're going to see how he discarnated. I'm going to show you pictures of how Brother Jacob, he describes his own discarnation. How his daughter, who discarnated before him, was there to receive him. And a very special friend from the beyond to help in the discarnating process. Just wait and see, because you know sooner or later you and I will be discarnating too. These are not bad news, these are just news. No actually news, because we knew it. It's just a reminder that it could happen at any time. Are you ready, friend, to discarnate? Am I ready? Let's meditate. As Joana de Angelis says to Divaldo Franco, think of death at least once a day. Your death and the death of your loved ones. And prepare yourself to go back to the spiritual home, feeling that whatever you're living here is passing. And everyone who stays one day is going to join you back there too. Right? So for now, we wish you lots of blessings, much peace, be a good medium, practice during this day, 24 hours you have to practice being a good instrument of the good spirits by speaking wisely, feeling wisely, thinking wisely, and doing acts of wisdom wherever you are. After all, you're not alone, you have your guardian angel. All right? A big hug of gratitude. Thank you, friends. God bless us all.